Hi guys, let's talk about the beginning of May. All right, this is the way these videos are going to go. I'm front loading all of the individual signs with the astrology. I'm time stamping. I'm going to time stamp for the astrology. The astrology and the aspects are going to be the same for all the signs. So if you're watching for your sun or your rising, your moon, your Venus, whatever it is now, and you want to check one of your other signs, just go into the description box and you could just click forward to ahead to the tarot portion, because there are going to be 3 sections, okay, for each of the signs. So there's going to be astrology, and then there's going to be career, and then there's going to be a relationship read. All right, so each of those sections are going to be timestamped. Well, the astrology won't be because I'm starting with that, but then I'm going to timestamp for the career and the relationship just for your ease, and so you don't have to sit through the whole video and all the astrology each time and go searching for all of that stuff, okay? So I hope that helps you guys out. But I always like to start with the astrology, guys. You know, my heart is with tarot, but it's also with astrology, right? So I can't separate the two. So I want to just talk about, we're just going to be dealing with the first week of May right now, okay? And so we had some big aspects coming on, and hallelujah, May is going to be so much better than flipping April. It really is. We have a very, very positive full moon happening on the 7th, so I just wanted to talk about that. Now, on the 3rd, on May 3rd, that's the only little bit of a, I'm just going to call it a little bit of a wonky energy. It's Venus square Neptune. Venus is great. Venus, obviously, we talked a lot about Venus yesterday in my Venus video. I'm going to link that above and in the description box, by the way, having to do with Venus retrograde. But Venus is going to be square Neptune. And remember, Neptune is all about illusory and not feeling firmly footed. So we have Venus in there, which is about love and having to do with money and having to do with our self-esteem. So it's like feeling foggy about those things. It's not going to be a very long energy that we're going to have to deal with, and everything else is really positive, but let's just give it a little, a little attention, just so that if you guys are feeling this way, you know that that's what it is, and you're not like losing your mind or spiraling down into a deeper state of depression or whatever you might be feeling right now, which, you know, guys, a lot of people are dealing with those, anxiety, depression. You know, it's a weird world we live in right now, right? All right, so Venus square Neptune on May 3rd. So Venus is, again, it's about love, money, self-esteem in general, but especially love and money. And Neptune is that ruler of the 12th house. It's Pisces house. It's the house of self-undoing. And that could easily make us, on the one hand, feel very victimized, right? And on the other hand, very unclear, since Neptune really is this ungrounded energy, and it really is trying to look at life through like a dirty window or a fog, kind of, right? So there's just not going to be a lot of clarity in the beginning of May, having to do with love and having to do with career. So just know that, okay? Because what ends up happening is, and the reason I say fog, because you know when you look through a fog or a dirty window, you kind of see what's there, but not really. And then what do we do as human beings? We end up filling in what we don't understand, and we fill in information to satisfy ourselves, but we can often be wrong in this energy. So just be mindful of that. So Venus square Neptune transit can lead to feelings of insecurity about yourself, even how you look, guys, like how you look, you know, because Venus is about beauty. It's about the external. So it's possible that you might feel that others are looking at you or thinking about you in a strange way, but please know that this isn't real. And any impressions like this are just going to be very distorted and won't be matching reality. So this wonky, I'm just going to call it poor self-image, can easily lead to relationship difficulties, right? Where you maybe think your partner is looking at you or thinking about you or seeing you in a certain light, and you're not feeling comfortable with it. And this could be a situation where you might be projecting some insecurities onto your relationship. And in the same way, you could also experience disappointments in your love life by forming a distorted image of someone else. And we've been kind of talking about that in the past couple of videos, where we end up projecting onto somebody what we really want them to be, and rather than maybe who they are or who they're even capable of being, and then that can end up leading to frustration. So if you're going through that, you know, just be mindful. It's just Venus square Neptune. And there's also a tendency to over-idealize romantic interest at this time, right? Really ignoring the obvious flaws that are kind of in plain sight because we have rose-colored glasses on. And, you know, I mean, we talked a lot with the Venus retrograde. as soon as the shadow starts, Venus is going to be like, here, put these rose-colored glasses on. So we just have to be a little careful of that. But regardless, situations leave you susceptible, having to do with love, to major disappointments, where you're either disappointed or maybe you feel like you're being taken advantage of, or you're being treated like a doormat in some way. But this is the thing. If you're in a healthy relationship, this is really, really short-lived, because assuming that if you're in a relatively normal, whatever the hell that means, but relationship where there's mutual respect, you're going to be able to talk about how you feel. So there's going to be that open communication. So you might be feeling it for a minute, but it's nothing that communication's not going to be able to solve. Now, if you're not in a really trusting relationship, this could be a little more problematic, and matters of trust can easily become an issue. And guys, I do want to say, and this is no judgment at all, but if you're thinking about starting an affair at this time, depending on where you live, depending on the quarantine situation, and I'm even talking about like online kind of affairs, not smart, since it's going to be really difficult to hide and you're going to get busted. So, because remember, Venus goes shadow and goes retrograde. It doesn't go retrograde till the middle of the month, but it's going to be going shadow to shadow the middle of the month. And that's where the lights are just going to start to become brighter and brighter and brighter, having to do with anything that's like shady, okay? So if you're not in a relationship or a solid relationship, you can feel this incredible need for honest tenderness, just an affection, right? So your desire for this is going to end up lifting these energetic blocks that you may be having, that you don't even realize, because we don't even realize when we put these energetic blocks up, right? These energetic do not disturb, right? Because my heart's still broken, or do not disturb because I'm choosing to still have feelings for somebody else. Those are going to kind of be lifted, but you have to stay conscious of this very confusing Neptunian influence. I'm not saying not to get involved with anybody, just be careful. Again, even like I mentioned, having to do with Venus retrograde, that reality is actually what it is, and that you're not filling in or seeing things that aren't there. Because it would be great if you can wait until after this transit before committing yourself in a new way, or being too trusted to somebody new. And that goes for the newness element, not obviously if you're in a relationship again. Poor self-esteem and lack of self-discipline in this energy big time. So it can be really difficult to stay on that diet, to maybe not drink so much, any kind of partying, anything like that. Shopping therapy, getting online, right, and doing some shopping therapy, anything that makes you feel good. You just more, it's going to be harder for you to control this. You're definitely going to be more susceptible to the depressive influences of alcohol during this energy, and more susceptible to poisoning in general, guys. I mean, I'm not a fear monger. I don't like that. Also, I just want to take this opportunity to say, stay away from fear-mongering sites. These people who are just like all about doom and gloom and everything. Guys, life is cyclical. We are human beings. We are strong. We're resilient. We're going to get past all of this stuff. And if you hyper-focus on any of the negative aspects having to do with readings, or any of the, the negative news that you hear, like attracts like, right? So you don't want to really swim in negativity. You just don't want to do that. All right. But that being said, I do have to remind us, right, that Venus being in square with Neptune does rule disease, right? It's a Pisces energy, and viruses, right? Anything that kind of like hides sort of underneath the surface. So you just want to be a little careful now, because addiction is definitely more likely. Like if you were to dabble in drugs, it's much easier in this energy to become addicted. If you weren't a big drinker beforehand, but you're starting to drink more, that maybe you're out of work or working differently, it's the energy is like can really suck you down that rabbit hole. So just be careful of anything like that, any kind of potential overdoing. Let's just leave it there. Okay, so now let's go on to a couple of things that are way more, if you want to say, positive and less challenging. Not that one's going to be that challenging, because it's not going to be that long-lived, but that's the most challenging of the week. So we're going to have Sun conjunct Mercury on May 4th. So this is going to put a focus on your thinking and communications. You're going to be very, very busy mentally. We're all going to be very busy mentally. All right. Your mind will be on, what idea is going to favor you the most? What path is going to bring you where you really want to go? Really kind of feeling very comfortable making decisions in this energy, and as far as like, particularly having to do with the pragmatics of your life, right? So I just feel like, clearing out paperwork and bills. You're going to be receiving letters and sending emails, and a lot of us are going to start feeling a little more ready to socially distance and do it responsible, but to get out around town, even if it's just for like short little trips, we're going to start to feel ready to do that. Because Mercury rules communication, thinking patterns, rationality, reasoning, right? Remember, Mercury rules Gemini, but also rules Virgo. And Virgo is like a very pragmatic sign. It's like, all right, what do we have to do? So you're really going to be in that space. Also, primary and secondary education, your neighborhood, siblings, cousins, short distance, transport, like I mentioned, news and information. These things are all ruled by Mercury, right? And so the sun is hanging in there with these ideas. So you're probably going to be talking a lot to some family, your brothers, your sisters, your cousins, doing a lot of exchange having to do with education. Those of us who are in higher ed, who are teachers, we're getting ready for our end of the semester. Those, our students are getting ready for studying for finals, or doing those, in my case, those final essays and all of that. So lots of busyness there. You're going to be just very fast, lively, adaptable, very almost in an unemotional and curious way. You're just going to be like sucking in information. So I really like it. You're going to want to, just have conversations on topics that interest you, because hello, that's Mercury. It's the intellect, right? It's all of that. So this is a great time to make plans to start business deals, to bargain and sell. This is a great week to do a bit to engage in a business deal. It really, really is. Even though Mercury is going to be going retrograde in Gemini, which is ruled by Venus is going to, did I say Mercury? Venus is going to be going retrograde in Gemini, which is ruled by Mercury in the middle of the month. But you could start something here that you've already begun the process on, in particular. Especially if you've already, brand spanking new, maybe not so much. But if you've been thinking about it, really good energy to do that. Then on the 7th, we have Mercury sextiling Neptune. We like when the planets have sex. It's good for us. It's very benefic. So this is good for relaxation, creativity, communication, anything spiritual. So for those of you who are going through, Libras in particular, going to be going through this in this energy, like spirituality pursuits, thinking about things, looking at life in a different way. Great energy to be doing that. Your words can be very soothing and can actually become healing to others, to each other. There's just going to be this sense of calming about this. All of your senses become very acute, enabling you to pick up a lot of extra information through your intuition, right? Because Mercury communication and Neptune rules Pisces, that, the eldest water sign. It's about intuition full force. So you might even be receiving a lot of messages through your dreams, through very serendipitous circumstances, but through your higher consciousness. Really nice. Chance encounters, hearing from somebody you haven't heard from in a while. Great time to do anything creative. I mean, anything from writing, artwork, anything differently that you do. We could be creative with anything that we do. So it's just a very, how do I want to say, a time of epiphanies and beautiful rolling out of these seeds that you've been cultivating, and your subconscious are going to pop up to your conscious mind, and you're really going to want to really push things forward. So I really like that. You're going to feel so ready for socializing in this energy. Absolutely. And relationships are really going to benefit in this energy as well. Very compassionate, very spiritual. There's a spiritual and compassionate element about this transit, so I do like it. Now we have to talk about the last thing that I want to mention for the week. Scorpio full moon on Thursday the 7th is the first positive moon phase for 6 weeks. Yes. This has a very spiritual, a very healing, a very compassionate influence, because Mercury sextiling Neptune in there as well. It's just like, wow. You know, in Scorpio is that deep water sign ruled by Neptune, which is all about changes and transformation and allowing cycles to end to allow beautiful cycles to begin. Now, that doesn't mean the ending of things. It means the ending of a cycle. So it doesn't have to mean the ending of that relationship, or it doesn't have to mean totally the ending of that job. It's going to resonate with everyone a little differently. But generally, people are going to be more sympathetic and understanding in this energy, and it'll make you more sensitive and better able to understand any areas that you have conflicting emotions in, which isn't that awesome, right? Clarity is always a friend, right? But importantly, it's really going to help you to see a brighter future, you know, which is awesome. Things are just going to start to feel and look a little brighter, like you see the light at the end of the tunnel for, you know, the end of the virus, right? They're calling the new normal, whatever the heck you want to call it, is really going to start to make sense. And we're going to start to feel a little more comfortable about taking those chances and doing things responsibly as a people, you know, responsibly. You know, trusting that people are just not going to be irresponsible, you know. But what does this full moon mean? Sun opposite moon brings your home, your family, intimate relationships into sharper focus for the following 2 weeks of this moon phase. Opposing forces such as work versus home, you know, even if you're working from home, you know, which working from home, I find it kind of like weird to balance out, like, am I working? Am I not working? I'm like putting dinner on while I'm like working, and it's just like, it's strange. So you're going to be looking at that balance, not in a bad way, in a good way, in like a problem solving way. So I do like that. And what you need versus what you want, right? A lot of us are going to be in that phase, creating this inner tension and external pressures, or any area where there's a creation of internal versus external pressures is going to be looked at right now, and in a really positive way. Now, you just want to be careful. For a minute, this could lead to conflict and crisis that drain your energy, but it's only because you're doing some really good active thinking. So it's more of like a mental kind of drain, but it's not bad. It's good because it's towards something good. But if you're feeling extra tired, I always say that in full moon energies, you know, unless you have natal retrogrades in, you know, like a Cancer energy in the 4th house, you might feel really more energetic during a full moon. But generally speaking, most people feel kind of tired. You know, you just do. So let's talk about a couple of aspects going on here. We have the full moon opposite Mercury. This makes the understanding and communication, your feelings, a major theme in this phase. Inner conflicts between your thoughts and feelings might occur. You might feel kind of polarized in your thinking. That's completely natural now. It really, really is, because the moon is I feel, and Mercury is communication. So it's what you feel deep inside, and it's how you're communicating with the external world. But this is good, because this is really going to be helping you to get in touch with areas that there are imbalance. You know, misunderstandings and arguments can happen, but the harmonious aspect of Neptune reduces this. So even though that might be happening where there might be some conflict, Neptune comes in and just like, okay, kids, you know, I'm the dreamer. Let's just take a deep breath and just meditate. You know, I'm joking, but you know what I mean. It kind of soothes the influence a little bit, which I do like. This is a really good moon for spending time in reflection, talking to really good friends about how you feel, getting in touch with where you sense you're holding back in life, whether that has to do with your job or relationship, with your sense of self, anything. Now, this full moon trine Neptune heightens your emotions, imagination, creativity. This reduces anxiety and makes misunderstandings less likely. You know, and if disagreements do occur, this harmonious and compassionate and very spiritual influence is going to incite forgiveness. It's going to incite cooler heads prevailing. It's just going to diffuse things really quickly, and which is great because we haven't had an influence like this in a while, to be honest. You may dream up or fantasize about an ideal partner, but are just as likely to meet somebody special now. So whether it's in your fantasy mind or in real life, relationships formed during this new moon phase have a very soulmate feel to them. Very soulmate feel. So friends may come to you for advice during this energy as well, a shoulder to cry on. You know, maybe you're dealing with some friends who are, you know, struggling right now, either with the virus or with money. You know, and again, I say that as a New Yorker because a lot of us know people who have the virus now because we're just so slammed with it. But I know a lot of you guys are super fortunate in places where it's been better contained. But regardless, your caring, sympathetic side is very enhanced during this new moon energy. A lot of empathy, a lot of caring, and it's going to come very naturally, so really nice. And then finally, we have Mercury sextiling Neptune. It's virtually exact. So this is occurring just 3 minutes before the full moon, so very close there. So this positive aspect far outweighs the challenging influence of the full moon opposite Mercury. Any of those little snafus that I said about communication, this outweighs it. So yeah, just generally people are going to be good during this energy. Very sympathetic, understanding. You're going to be very sensitive, especially those of you who, I don't know, as we say, are awake, are in touch, are spiritually aware. You're going to feel very sensitive to the vibrational energies going on now, to other people in your environment. Man, especially those water signs, right? Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces, you're going to be vibing the energy a lot around you. Not in a bad way, in a good way. You're going to be able to sort of, and it's going to be helpful to the people in your life because you're going to be able to tap into your intuition in a way where you're just going to be able to sense if somebody needs something. Right? Which is really beautiful. So I do like this. And, you know, generally, we're all going to be feeling a more idealistic view of the world. Now, that has a lot to do with, okay, I mean, Mercury sextiling Neptune, but I have to say that also, you know, Venus is going to be retrograde. So there's going to be some, you know, sweet-colored rose juice thrown on everything, you know, right now, which is nice. You know, you could trust your feelings right now, guys. Seriously, like, we're all going to be feeling very sensitive. And trust your feelings, right? Because this aspect gives Mercury sextile Neptune gives very accurate intuition and perception skills, which I really like. A lot of you guys are going to be tapping into your psychic abilities where you're going to sense something before it happens. You're going to sense somebody reaching out to you before they do. You're going to be sensing these things. Lots of dreams here, lots of dreams with messages. So if you're remembering your dreams, really sit down with yourself quietly and think through. If you want, write it out, but figure out what message is trying to be sent to you, given to you in that moment. Yeah. I mean, I really like it. Very healing energy, very healing, great for romance, great for intimacy, great for feeling connected. And if nobody's in your life, you could be feeling super tight with your kids, really close to your friends, just very up in your feels in a positive way about everything. And again, last little bit, this is a great full moon. For those of you who are creatively inclined, artistically inclined, writers, anything, great pursuits for energy to pursue things like literature, drama, poetry, singing. In the same way, relaxation, yoga, meditation. Great. This is a great time, guys. For those of you who never believed in meditation, were never on board with it, didn't get it, couldn't relax well enough to stay in place to do it. I get it. We've all been there at one point, right? Before we learn the process. So this is a great energy to do it. And there are so many great videos that can help you through that. So why not, right? If you have the time, why not? All right, guys, that is the astrology section. So now I'm going to go pull signs. Pull cards for each of your signs, okay? See you guys on the other side. Okay, bye-bye. Hi, Aquarius. Let's get right into your career. Career spread. Hope you guys are doing well today. Let's get right into it. Aquarius, Sun, Moon, Rising, Venus, and 10th house energy. If you have Aquarius on your 10th house, that is a cool placement to have if you have Aquarius on your 10th house of career. All right. Let's get right into this. We have our Aquarius friends. They need to know for the beginning of May. Death. Hello. Hello, and the Empress reverse. Okay, so you're not going back to something you were in. You realize you were not going to reach your wish fulfillment in that energy, Aquarius. You just realize that. We have the Nine of Cups in the recent past here. This is wish fulfillment. So in the reverse, this is telling me that you realize you were not going to get where you wanted to go in this forgive me, not relationship, in this job. Now, the situation right now, we have the Death card, which is a Scorpio energy, ruled by Pluto. So this indicates the ending of a cycle, but the beginning of a new one. And this is being crossed by the Empress energy in reverse. Now, the Empress energy is a Venus energy. And Venus does rule. It's not only about love, it's about self-esteem, it's about money, it's about, our connection to money as well. So this is telling me that the ending of this cycle is deeply impacting your money or your self-esteem or your ability to move forward. Now, the Empress is the mother of the Tarot, right? She's perpetually pregnant. She's always got something cooking in there, right? But there's cultivating that's necessary there, right? Because when you get pregnant, it's 9 months later that you have a baby. So it's not like this, quick kind of thing. But there's this growth, there's this forward movement. But now in reverse, this indicates a couple of things. First of all, that the growth isn't there. But it also indicates, Aquarius, where it's like this sense of, in a weird way, even if it's only subconsciously, you're kind of giving up on moving forward in something. It's like not showing up, just feeling like, okay, how do I put this? What am I getting? I feel like a lot of you guys are in a bad space when it comes to your career right now. I mean, I just want to put it out there. Like, you're confused. There's analysis paralysis going on. You're feeling like, besides feeling disappointed, I feel like you're feeling scared right now. And the analysis paralysis is sort of putting cement shoes on your ability to see your way forward now. Not that time is going to happen, cycles are going to happen, you're going to move forward, but you're having a really hard time seeing that. And then we have the World energy. So the World energy just means not yet. All right, World is the most positive card in the deck. It's a Saturn energy. It's putting your hard work into something and then seeing the fruits of all of your hard work on the other side, right? But there's something in the way from you being able to have this opportunity. And it's almost always, when it's in reverse, just not everybody being on the same page when it comes to something. So this could certainly have to do with those of you who are maybe in this sort of like, dare I say, like a purgatory space with your career, where you're waiting to be called back for work, or you're waiting, if you're working differently, you're waiting for things to go back to normal, where there's just not the sameness that you were accustomed to having to do with your career, but there's something in your way. Now, this could be an actual person, or this could simply be the quarantine. But it's there waiting for you, but there's something standing in the way. Four of Coins energy is the foundation. This just tells me that you're holding on to your money really, really tight, kind of like a miserly energy, and there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. You're feeling very self-protective of what you have right now because you feel very unsupported. You feel like you feel very vulnerable. This is really kind of a vulnerable energy where whatever you do have, you really want to hold on to it tightly. So this isn't the kind of energy where you're like, lending money out or donating a bunch of money right now because you just don't have it. It's not that you don't want to, you just don't have it. So you're in the space of feeling very vulnerable and having a hard time seeing forward right now. And then we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. So, when we have the Knight of Swords in reverse, this is a Taurus and Gemini energy, right? And so Gemini is about communication and truth, right? And forward movement, because it's ruled by Mercury. So Mercury rules this moving from like one job to the next. It would be that kind of energy. And Taurus is a pentacle energy. It's also ruled by Venus, which is one of the money planets. So right now, I see that you're having a hard time tapping into the truth of what it is that you want to do that's going to move you into the space where you're going to be able to make money differently, right? That's, you know, that's where I'm getting that you're at right now. Now, the energy external to you is the Nine of Wands. Okay. Yeah. So I'm getting that. Okay. The Nine of Wands energy is a kind of like, I can't do this anymore. I can't be on this path anymore. You know, plain and simple. It really is. Because this is Moon in Sagittarius. Moon is I feel. Sagittarius is moving forward with integrity. Moving forward. You know, with Jupiter on your back, because Jupiter is the ruler there. And there's not going to be this feeling like there could be forward movement. Now, this is not you, though. This is an external energy. So this external energy is feeling like we can't move forward. I can't move forward. So a lot of you are going to be resonating with this, Aquarius, as this is your boss, and they needed to close down. They needed to lay people off. They needed to take away some sort of opportunity. They just can't. They can't do it anymore. I feel like they can't be on that path anymore. This is the energy I'm getting of businesses closing down, just not even being functional, not even being open. Right? Because, you know, normally if you see this in a lot of decks, it's just like this. I've been through the war, you know, but I still have fire in my belly to move forward. And here it's just like, I can't do it. I can't, you know, I feel like I just can't do it. There's no movement forward. Not somebody not being able to see a way forward. You fear here the Hangman. The Hangman is ruled by Neptune. This is pressing the pause button. You're afraid of the pause. You're afraid of this break that's happening right now. You're afraid of the uncertainty because, again, Neptune is like looking at reality through a dirty window, I always say, or through the fog. You kind of know what's in the future, but you don't really know, and you're kind of not really digging like what you see or what you're feeling, what you're vibing, you know? Lack of clarity. Lack of clarity is your fear. And this break in time, this pause, this insane cosmic pause that everybody's on. We have the Ten of Wands in reverse as the outcome. When we have the reverse, this means that the wands have been put down already. They've been put down. This is Saturn in Sagittarius in reverse. Right? So it's this holding back. You're not going on that path anymore. Everything became too heavy. Wands are well in motivation and forward movement. And when we have wands, it's really about everything just became too much. Everything became too much. So, you know, for some of you, this is going to be a major multitasking energy. But whatever it is, it became so heavy on your mental space that the wands needed to be put down. And they were put down already. Like, even though this is the outcome card, you're still going through the process. Because when it's in reverse, it's been put down already. But then look what we have as the near future. Hello and hallelujah. Yes. Nice. I love this energy. This is a good one. This is Leo and Virgo. Leo, what I like about Leo, right, with this pentacle energy, is really this is very powerfully inflected by its ruler, which is the sun. And the sun is all about epiphanies, things being illuminated, ideas coming to you, right? And it's a Virgo, so it's Leo and Virgo. Virgo is a pental energy. Virgo is very pragmatic too. Being ruled by Mercury. Mercury rules move into that new position. It's short distance travel, but it's also metaphorical for moving from one thing to another, right? From an alchemical perspective, that is what Mercury does. Mercury transforms, transitions, right? In short distances. So I see some sort of idea, some sort of either a new job is being offered to you or some sort of epiphanies for how you're going to be moving forward in your career. Almost like something hits you and you're like, oh, you know what? I'm going to go after that. Or I never really thought about doing that before. Or I never had the time to do that. You know, that kind of thing. I think this is really positive. Even though I could see, Aquarius, you're going through a rough time right now. But this is really good. And I like this Leo inflection here because very strong sun energy here. And whenever we have the sun energy that's so strong here with the pentacle energy, it's this forward movement and it's healing, right? Because the warmth of the sun heals, right? So there's a healing energy here. So I think you guys are going to be fine. You're just going to have to go through the process. So watch your money. Hold on to what you have. If this is a situation where somebody would really like you to continue in something, but they can't, just find forgiveness, really feel into the acceptance of it all. Feel into the acceptance of it all. Yeah. Okay, my friends, that is what I have for your career. All right, now for those of you who are open to relationship. Now, this could be you're in a relationship or somebody's in your energy fields, and I never know what comes up. Remember, I always do once a month. I do singles only and couples only, right? In one tarot only read. No astrology in that one. So I'm going to do past, present, future, and then some clarifiers as we need. That's interesting. Got these in reverse. Alrighty. And I shuffled these 6 times before putting the camera on. Shuffled again. I feel like who got similar cards but in reversals to this? Oops, I think Sagittarius. Anyway, so in the past we have Justice, the Hierophant, the Queen of Swords. Queen of Swords, truth, communication. Swords is an air energy. There's communication. Now, this is something, though, I feel like you were in a space, though, Aquarius, where you felt like you needed to protect yourself in some way, right? We have the dogs there as protection. We have the 3, which is always the Trinity that shows up to protect ourselves, to protect us. The Swords of Truth, it's communication. You're very intuitive in this energy as well. Really tapping in, very tuned in and turned on here, for sure. You have people figured out, a situation figured out. As soon as it hits you, you have it all figured out. Very quick processing in this energy, having to do with this relationship. But I feel like there was some sort of communication about the need to protect yourself. So this could have something to do with COVID or not, but it just has to do within the relationship, right? So this is in the recent past, and we have the Hierophant energy. Beautiful. I like this. This is your belief system. This is you looking at how society views relationships, and really holding it up against your own beliefs about relationship, what's right, wrong, and different, but really formulating your own sort of, your own sense of normal, right? Such an Aquarius energy to do. Your own sense, right? You guys are all about your individuality and how you think things need to be handled. What I like about this is that this is, so some of you may be dealing with the Taurus energy, because the Hierophant in astrology is connected to Taurus. So Taurus is a very beautiful earth energy, solid earth energy, but also ruled by Venus. So Venus is about relationship, right? Love, self-esteem. It has to do with money as well. But more than anything here, because it has to do with relationship, I am recognizing that it's you very tuned into your feelings having to do with this relationship in your past. And then we have the Justice energy. So the Justice is a Libra energy. Libra rules relationships. That's 7th house. The glyph is scales, ruled by Venus. So we have more Venus energy here. We have a lot of Venus energy here, which is good to have upright in love. So nice. But there's going to be some sort of understanding here that you guys were experiencing with this person in the past. Things were fair. There was reciprocity. This person made you feel good. Yeah. So I really like it. I have a very sort of how do I want to say this? A very understanding energy from the past. There's a lot of reciprocity. There's mutual respect. There's communication. So I like that. Now, in the current energy we have right now, the 9 of Swords. So the 9 of Swords is an energy it's a Mars in Gemini. And so this tells me that you're very deep in thought. I call this the 3 a.m. card. And it doesn't have to happen at 3 a.m. But these are the kind of thoughts that end up being like ruminating kind of thoughts over and over again. Trying to figure out how things can be different than they are right now. Mars rules Aries. Aries is about a fresh initiative, a new path. Right, entering this next phase, a new cycle, something new. Gemini is about this, Gemini is about communication. Yes, of course. It's about truth, right? Gemini is about intellect, but Gemini is also ruled by Mercury, which rules this, moving from here to there. So I feel like you're trying to figure out something in this relationship, like how are we going to move into this next phase together? So some of you may be in quarantine and you're trying to figure out how is this all going to work once we get out of quarantine? Like just keeping it real. How is this going to work? And it can be creating some anxiety, some depression. But whatever it is, this is you feeling these ruminating thoughts, and you're really not feeling this mental, emotional, physical connection. And again, this can be because of quarantine. Can be. It doesn't have to be, right? But this is a Sagittarius and Capricorn energy. Sagittarius is about moving forward, right? With integrity. Capricorn is all about work, which is ruled by Saturn. So when we have this in reverse, this is telling me that there's restriction. So there's restriction from being able to move forward, and there's restriction in feeling mentally, physically, and emotionally connected. And so this is you trying to figure out, how can I move forward in this when I'm feeling this way? But then we have the Princess of Coins, right? Which is a Leo and Virgo energy. And I like this, the Princess of Coins, the Leo energy with the Pentacle energy, because Leo's ruled by the Sun. So the Sun is going to present to you some sort of idea, some sort of epiphanies on how you're going to be able to move forward, to be able to have that mental, physical, and emotional connection. So I feel like you're in sort of a holding pattern, Aquarius. It's weird. It's weird because it's so clear to me that I think more than any other sign that I've read for here, and you guys are the last one I'm doing, do I get such a heavy quarantine vibe here. That's what I mean by weird. Like, I feel like the main issue in this connection has to do with the quarantine. Now, this could have to do with the fact that you guys aren't physically able to see each other right now, or it could have to do with having to do with finances, where finances are now an issue because of the lockdown, and this is a serious issue, and you're trying to figure out how are we going to be able to move forward in this, what's going to happen. Either way, epiphanies for this new normal are going to be happening in that Princess of Coins energy. I see, like now, I see it in happening within this time period. Now, in the future, we have the Six of Swords energy. So this could be mentally, right? Mentally. And this is a minor arcana, so it doesn't have to be permanent, but there's a moving away, there's a pulling away from something that is, you feel, not very healthy for you, right? It's getting in, right? And it's saying, this is really not speaking to my truth anymore. I don't like how I feel in this, and I need to just move away from it. Now, guys, I want to say, again, this is a minor arcana. It's short-lived, and this may only be mental. In the reverse, it's very often where you actually don't even leave the relationship. The person you're dealing with doesn't leave, but you just feel this separateness. You feel this, but it's like feeling this mental pulling away, the emotional pulling away, right? And the not really giving the feelings, right? Like there's this holding back. The Six of Swords and the Queen of Cups energy in reverse, there's this holding back. But again, the Queen of Cups being a Cancer and Gemini energy, and Gemini being ruled by Mercury, Mercury being this moving forward, I feel like that there's this holding back of emotions. There's this holding back from being able to move forward in something. But then we have this Aquarius, you guys, Aquarius here. The star is beautiful. This brings healing. This brings insight with emotions. You guys are ruled by Uranus, which is all about shaking things up and doing things differently and being able to see things through a different lens and being able to handle things in a different way. So I think this is super, super positive for you guys. Absolutely. Yeah, there's healing there. The star is healing. So it's healing through doing something different. So I feel like you guys got yourself into, I'm not even going to say a bit of a pickle, but like pushed into a corner here. Having to do with the quarantine, having to do with issues with work, having to do with change outside of the control of you guys. You know what I mean? That's what I want to say. I feel a very circumstantial kind of energy here. Okay, The Eight of Cups, the Three of Wands. All right, and then I pull these, you know, and I add these as I see. Yeah, you know, yeah. I just feel like you guys are seriously just feeling very, very disconnected. The Nine of Coins, just not feeling that, you know, mental, emotional, physical connection, not feeling that love, right? Because it's a Venus and Virgo energy. Just not feeling it. Right? There's a lot of, you know, and the Fool energy is, but the Fool is Uranus, right? But not being able to figure it out, that's that Nine of Swords energy. Not being able to figure out how are we going to do things differently? How is that going to happen? Yeah. And the Eight of Cups is, you know, really how am I going to do this here as far as reaching what it is that I want in a relationship? How am I going to have the relationship that I want with this person when we can't get out of this neutral position because of the quarantine or having to do with money, right? Because this is a Saturn and Pisces energy. Pisces about that ideal relationship that you really want, and Saturn being about restriction, right? So it's like you saying, okay, I have to move forward. I have to move away from this. This is like too much for me. This is too much for me. And that's very much the Six of Swords energy reverse. But then I see the Three of Wands is hanging with the star here. This is beautiful. This is forward movement. This is the veil being lifted pretty quickly. Lots of passion, lots of communication, almost like a busy time here, right? Lots of communication, lots of passion, lots of figuring out, okay, this is how we're going to move forward. So I really feel like that very much resonates with the star energy. Very much, because the star energy is, you know, it's Aquarius. And you guys are ruled by Uranus. So it's like, all right, we're going to do things differently. What does that mean? All right, we're going to go this way. And that's what I'm getting here. So I feel like you guys are going to be fine. You're just kind of going through this restriction and this lack of connection. So even if you guys are together, I feel like because of the quarantine, because of the situations having to do with work, even if you're working, it's just people who are working like differently, you know? And it's just strange, man, right? It's such a weird time right now. You know, if you're working from home, it's a kind of strange. So some people are really digging it, but it's hard to sort of acclimate to that new normal. You know, is the money still there? Is everybody getting paid the same? You know, if you're working outside the house, it's like fear every time you walk out of the house, even if you like glove up and mask up. So really inflecting the relationship, but I see this really working out very beautifully for you guys. So Aquarius, that is what I have for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope this was helpful in some way, and I will see you guys next time. Take care now. Bye-bye.